Hey, Eliezer. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can hear me? I can't say something. Hello? Are you muted? Let me see if, there, now I can hear you.
Okay,
Yay.
I can hear you.
There you are.
Hi, I can hear you now.
I can hear you too.
Okay.
Awesome.
Bless you. Are you fine?
I'm doing really well, yes.
Okay, it's good. And Dan is fine?
Yes, he will be here in just a few minutes. He's running from one meeting to the next.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
Fine, fine.
Awesome.
It's a good day today.
Yeah.
Many work, but it's fine.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you for getting on the call. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you to invite me.
This will be interesting to see how this works.
Yeah.
We do this every other Thursday with Stephanie and Steven and Millie and Gustavo, who's the youth leader in San Juan, and then Natalie's on sometimes with us. So we do a video call like this a couple times a month with the team. But
I called to Steven Friday.
Okay.
He said me about the issue to this week, so I can see Steven yesterday, but Pastor Giovanni taught with the church about this week. Some parents comes to me automatic to bring information about this week. So at this moment, thought about this.
As in a good way, or what do you mean?
Yes, some parents need more information about this week. Many parents interesting that your Jones guys participated in this camp. So we have at this moment five, right, Odemaris? 5 parents that is very interesting that your guys participate in this week.
Awesome.
In the camp. So
okay, very good. Well, the purpose of the meeting tonight is for you to hopefully get a lot of answers. You know, some of it you already know, because some of the leaders coming on don't know who we are at all. So part of it is to explain who we are and what we're getting ready to do, but then there will be some details, I think, that will help you out as far as that week in the camp and what we're going to be doing, and that you can help answer the questions for the parents.
Okay.
And then I believe a while back I sent you a link in the group message for registration for GoSend people, and I will make sure that you have the correct link so that when the parents sign up their youth, that they use that specific one because it's specific to GoSend. And then you'll be able to see all the people that have registered from your church, how much they've paid, if they still owe money. You'll be able to see that. Or are you the one that's going to kind of be overseeing it, or will be the youth pastor of your church?
Maybe to the pastor in the church. So many parents asked me about what is the deadline to register your guys.
Okay.
We said that tomorrow confirm what is the deadline to register.
So it was actually a week ago, but we've extended it, when we'll talk about that later in the meeting, but we're extending it to a week from today. So Monday the 15th.
Okay. Okay.
And
It's
the
good.
reason for that deadline is because the Camp Caribe is the one who is, they've kind of set the deadline when we need to let them know how many are coming. So it's kind of restricted. Looks like we get somebody else. Someone else is coming on. But we'll talk about that tonight.
Okay.
All right. Is somebody else here?
Mari, come. Yeah.
Hi, Maria.
Hi there. So looks like Gustavo's having trouble getting on. Just a second. I'm gonna check out something over here.
Okay. Steven participated today to the meeting?
I hope so. We told the team we'd like to see them all on. Yeah, I hope so.
Okay.
So. Did you have any trouble logging on?
No.
Okay.
It's the first time for us.
Okay.
But we don't have any problem, really.
Okay, good.
Sí, es que
Lo puedes hacer por Bluetooth.
I'm going to turn you guys on mute just for a minute, okay? I'm going to try that. So Gustavo says he can't get on, that it says that I'm on another meeting. But they were able to get on.
Maybe you didn't get on the right link.
Well, I don't know. I was on another meeting, I think, at a point. Oops. Should I get out of that?
Yes. Yes.
This is the one. Where'd they go now?
Hi, Dan.
Hey, how are you?
Fine. Are you?
Good to see you.
Me too.
Hi.
Hey, how are you? You guys are looking good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let me see what we got here. I'm going to try to see if we get Gustavo on here.
Okay.
Okay, so they're able to listen here. So.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Gustavo.
There, you made it.
I made it. No sé qué pasó. You made it.
I did.
¿Quién está con nosotros?
Hola, Gustavo. Mi nombre es Eliezer. ¿Me escuchas?
Saludos, Eliezer.
Oh, Gustavo.
¿De dónde eres, Eliezer? Sí, te escucho. ¿De dónde nos saludas? ¿De dónde nos...? Hussein. Qué bueno conocerte, Eliezer, ya. De cara a cara.
Sí. Sé que habías tenido la oportunidad de hablar con José.
Por aquí. ¿Y quién más está por ahí? Ajá.
Y pues nos invitó a la reunión de hoy. Así que qué bueno por lo menos, ¿verdad? Ya conocernos, aunque sea por estos medios, ¿verdad? Una manera más formal.
Así mismo es. Gracias a Dios por nos permite vernos de esta manera, aunque sea. Estaba por ahí. Alguien por ahí en el chat, vamos a ver, creo que...
Okay, we're getting everybody on here, so.
Ana, está en el chat. Me parece que esa es ella. Ella es... Déjame verificar que sea ella. We have on the chat one of my friends, Ana Cepero. She texted me earlier saying that she's having problems with her voice.
Okay.
So she's going to be joining us via text, mostly.
Can she hear us okay?
Vamos a ver si contesta.
So she can hear okay?
MacBook Pro Mars disconnected. Ready to pair.
What is that?
That wasn't me. Can you hear me, Gustavo?
Sí, yo te escucho. I can hear you.
Okay, all right.
This is all recording. Should we pause them?
Ana, si nos escucha, escribe algo. Que está por ahí. Ellos son los fundadores de Field International. Saying hi. Where is that?
Can you hear that noise?
I can hear the noises.
Just a second here.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody here? Hey, everybody.
All right. So I was introducing you guys to, I know you guys know Eliezer, to Ana and her husband, that are the chat. Give it a minute or two.
Hi.
Sorry. There you go.
No. Hey, Millie's on.
Yay! I found it. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
I think Steven's trying to jump on too. So, but we can go ahead and get started as we need to. So.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna, for me, that way we will not have all those noises and whatnot. Okay. So,
You guys can mute
para el
me if you
resto,
want.
si miran. Ok. So, para el resto, si ven, si aquellos de ustedes que sea la primera vez usando la aplicación, en su pantalla, si están en la computadora, en la parte de abajo debe haber una serie de opciones. Una de esas es levantar la mano. Así que cuando tengan una pregunta o quieran hacer algún comentario, pues le dan ahí y entonces María les va a quitar el mute y entonces va para que pues, todo el mundo lo podamos escuchar. Esperen a que eso ocurra porque si no, nos perdemos de su invaluable aportación. Nada, todos me conocen, Eliezer no estamos conociendo ahora, pero me conocen y yo conocí a Dan y a María a través del huracán María, después de que María... ¿Qué es esto? Me está cerrando una llamada, colgaron, no sé, perdonen. Después que los huracanes María e Irma y María azotaron Puerto Rico, un amigo que tenemos en común que se llama Chris Albeira me escribe y me dice que tenía otros amigos que tienen una agencia misionera a corto plazo, que tenían deseos de venir a Puerto Rico a ver cómo podían servir. Historia larga corta, nos pusimos en contacto, Dan y yo principalmente, y terminaron quedándose en mi casa sin luz y con agua fría porque el calentador no estaba funcionando. Y eso para mí me hizo enamorarme de ellos, ¿verdad? De su corazón y su autenticidad. Después de ellos fuimos a varios lugares visitando, a ver qué cosas podían hacer por nuestra isla, traer los grupos, que es lo que ellos usualmente hacen con su ministerio, y terminaron teniendo una asociación bien bonita con la iglesia Gosén en Ponce, y han estado viniendo varias veces a la iglesia a servir. Y así fue que nos conocimos y en la conversación, pues Dan me conoce mi otra faceta, aparte de pastor de jóvenes, pues que tengo relaciones y soy entrenador certificado con el ministerio Dare to Share y con el ministerio Sun Life, y en busca de la respuesta de cómo podemos aplicar lo que ocurre en esa semana de campamento al restante de las otras 51 semanas, pues desarrollamos el proyecto de que Feel the Cause, que es lo que va a ocurrir este verano. Okay, so then Maria, I was just telling everybody how we met and then how you guys came down to Puerto Rico after the hurricanes Maria and Irma, and how I fell in love with you guys after you stayed my house with cold water and no electricity, and you know how all of that developed. Let me ask, Ana, ¿está bien si en inglés o necesita, tu esposa necesitan que vaya traduciendo lo que se va diciendo? Asking Ana if she needs translation or if it's okay, you can just entiende bien, gracias. Okay, so Dan, take it away.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you guys for coming. And so everybody understands English well enough? Is that what we're saying, Gustavo? Okay. So again, Maria and I really appreciate you guys jumping on along with Gustavo and the rest of the team. We are very excited about what God is doing in Puerto Rico and about the partnerships that have been being developed over this last, I don't know, what was it, year, about a year and a half. And we are very, very grateful for all of that. And first of all, what I wanted to do tonight was just kind of explain so everybody has an understanding of Fuel International and who we are, because I think that's really important. We've been going now for over 23 years now. And in 23 years, we've had an opportunity to travel and minister in about 26, 27 different nations of the world. And we've had an opportunity to be able to be a part of seeing lives changed and transformational processes. And when we first heard about Puerto Rico, when Hurricane Maria came, it was on our heart. God was really stirring on us to really come down to Puerto Rico. And then when we did, it was pretty amazing to watch the doors that God began to open up. And our first connection in Puerto Rico was an amazing man who came and picked us up from the airport. And Gustavo showed up and was willing to do whatever it took. And he was willing to house us and give us a car and all those kind of things. And it was awesome. And so we had an opportunity to build some great relationship with Gustavo. And then on that trip, we traveled down to Ponce, because that was an area that we really felt like God was drawing us to. And through relationships, through different relationships, we were able to meet with Pastor Giovanni and his team down at Gosen. And it was during that time, I remember that evening so well, that Pastor Giovanni had a pastor's gathering at the church, and of various different denominations that were gathering together. And it was great because we were just in fellowship with one another, but you could see how everybody was really working well with one another and encouraging and one another. And we had an opportunity to share. And I remember that evening that as I got up to speak, I really felt like the Lord really impressed upon my heart that for Puerto Rico, that Puerto Rico is a place at that time has been needing people to come in from the outside to help Puerto Rico, to help rebuild and those kind of things. And I saw that process as a process of evangelism. What a great door of opportunity for evangelism to actually begin to start opening up and being able to minister to people. People were in such need that all the walls of denomination were coming down, but at the same time, there was such a huge need. And so everybody was working together, and it was a beautiful thing to see. And we're asking how we could be a part of all that. And if there's a way for us to be a part of that. And so there was a rebuild process. And that rebuild process, I saw evangelism. But after the rebuild, I really believe the Lord was showing me that Puerto Rico is not only to become a place where it receives, but it's also to be a place that sends, and to become a sending place, in order not only to take care of the needs of Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans, but also to be able to go out into the nations of the world. And I really believe that's what something that the Lord really began to show me, is that there's a mobilization piece to this, that I really believe that the churches in Puerto Rico have an opportunity to be mobilized. It's one of the kind of those things like Esther, was for such a time as this. You know, Esther was, you know, she was born for that time in order to see these things happen. And I really believe it was the same for Puerto Rico as well, in that even though all this devastation happened, out of it, God is going to get glory, and there's going to be an amazing thing that transpires and takes place. And so through that, we had an opportunity, and so to be able to partner together really well with Pastor Giovanni and Go Send Church, and we have been so appreciative of that. And so we're like, okay, so we began to start bringing teams down, and as we're bringing teams down, other networks began to start forming, and groups who wanted to help out with the building process that we were able to partner together with. And so it was an awesome thing. And so we've brought down how many teams now?
4, I think.
4 or 5 teams, 4 or 5 teams that we've brought down now into Puerto Rico, and it had an amazing time, and we're able to see the blue tarps come off and metal roofs come on, and it's just been it's been an awesome adventure together. And but one of the next steps that we really felt, as Gustavo and I were sharing with one another, because Gustavo has a real heart for this generation, and he has a real heart to be able to see this generation mobilized, and he's really involved with Dare to Share. And I was like, there's got to be a way that we could see the youth of Puerto Rico mobilize, not only to get some good teaching, which Dare to Share offers, but also to use that in a way that's not just a one-time event, but to be able to put it into practice each and every day. And so we began to talk about this and say, well, what could we do to help mobilize the youth of Puerto Rico? So what about, you know, do they do camps? So we started talking about the camp options and this and that. And so we're like, well, what if we did a camp type setting that included a mobilization piece, that training and equipping, but not only just training and equipping, but being able to train and equip them, but then during the day, they actually go out on the streets and they actually do the stuff, whether it's feed the homeless or minister to Teen Challenge or minister to go help put roofs on homes or take food or whatever it might be. How can we mobilize the youth in Puerto Rico? And so that's where we begin to put together these two things. Dare to Share has a thing called Lead the Cause, but we were like, well, what if we put together Fuel the Cause? So we put together a missions trip experience in a camp-like setting that actually trains and equips this generation to go reach their very own. And what would that look like? So that we could begin to start seeing more and more and more of the youth of Puerto Rico reaching themselves, right? Reaching college campuses, reaching all the, you know, and going out beyond their borders, and even going to the nations of the world. What would that look like if we could see a generation mobilized in Puerto Rico to not just be a receiving generation, but to be a giving generation and to expand outside of its borders? What would that look like? And so that's where we came up with Fuel the Cause, which is something that I would strongly encourage youth pastors to participate, to get involved with, because I really believe that this is a beginning of something that is, this generation always talks about being a part of something that's bigger than themselves. And I really believe that this could be a real kickoff beginning. It's not just a camp. Camps, to me, I like camps. I'm not against camps, in case anybody really likes camps. But camps, to me, you kind of get a camp-like experience, and you come for a week, and then at the end of the week, the high of everything that happened during the week lasts for about a week, and then everybody goes back to their normal stuff. And I see this being different than that. I see this being something where they actually are a participant of something. So they're not just getting head knowledge and learning. They're not just having amazing worship and being in the presence of God, but they're actually going out every day, giving a part of themselves and being a part of something bigger than themselves, helping to establish a habit. I know habits take longer than this, but this is a good start, right? And to establish a habit of going out, establish a habit of how do I share my story with those that are around me? How do I share what God has been doing in my life in a very real way, an authentic way, in order to see my generation come to know Jesus? what would that look like? And so that's when we began to put this whole thing together. And we believe that we've come up with something that would be very, very powerful for Puerto Rico. And it'd be not only powerful for Puerto Rico, but powerful for the nations of the world. And that to me is hugely important. We really want to be able to see this whole thing pushed beyond. And could you imagine seeing some Puerto Rican youth in the next year or two actually going someplace else? So last year, one of GoSend's very own, Natalie, she ended up going with us to Mexico. And it was a powerful experience for her to go to Mexico. And it was a whole different culture and dynamic, spoke the same language, but many things were very different for her. And it really changed her life. And so what if we begin to start seeing these stair steps of things happening, where we begin to start seeing our youth go to here and then go to here. And now we're sending them off to the nations of the world. There was a movement many, many years ago called the Student Volunteer Movement. And it was a movement of this generation, a movement of young people that said, you know what, I want to live life bigger than myself. I want to give my life away. And they were willing to do whatever. The story goes that they would have to get on ships to go overseas. So it wasn't an airplane ride, it was a ship, right? And they would pack all of their belongings that they could take with them in a coffin, because they knew that they would need to be buried in that country one day, because they knew coming back was not an option. And it was a generation that was fearless, and a generation that was willing to go to the next level, a generation that was willing to forsake all in order to see the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords glorified. And that's what I see. That's what I see happening with this whole Fuel the Cause. I really believe it's the beginning marking point of something bigger than ourselves, something bigger than what we can think. And so I just want you to, I would encourage you, would you join with us in order to be able to see something like this happen in Puerto Rico? And so I'm done preaching now, but I get really, really, really excited about this, because I really believe in this generation, and I really believe in what God can do with this generation. And all it takes is a few amazing men and women of leaders around to help encourage that process and to help push it forward. And when they do, you will be amazed at the impact that will actually take place. So I will leave it at that and pass it back off to Gustavo.
All right, we welcome Stephen. He's also from the team down there in Ponce. And Stephanie's there. We have Pastor Joe Ramos from Palmas Community.
Joe.
Right there, a friend. And Alana, I don't think I have the pleasure. No sé si Alana nos puede escuchar. Maria, if you can unmute her. And G5. Anyways. So
here we go. There we go. Everybody's unmuted now, so we can talk.
Alana y G5. ¿Me escuchan? Bueno, pues como para que sepan, si alguno necesita traducción de lo que digan nuestros hermanos, pues me dejan saber y yo puedo ayudarles con eso. Si no, todo va a estar grabado y pueden volver y ver, lo vamos a postear y se va a poder ver. Un momento más, y si la persona que entró ahora, G5, quiere presentarse, y la persona que tiene la Alana se fue. Ok. Anyways, so the idea behind that, Fuel the Cause is all that Dan just said, and it's a way to workshop youth groups in a way that they will leave that week with the passion that is caused by a mission trip. I don't know if any of you, when you were younger, or even as an adult, had a chance to go on a mission trip, but all I hear is that they are transformative, and they have a great impact on the people that participate from it. So, but the added to that is that we're gonna train the leaders, helping them develop a vision for their community and a plan to reach that community. And at the same time, we're gonna be training the students on how to manage a spiritual conversation, and to get together with their youth leader and plug into that plan or that strategy that the youth leader has been developed. And for everybody, it's going to look a little different, but the idea is for them to leave that week empowered, they leave motivated, they leave, with this amazing experience of having served others. But now they know how to translate it in their schools, in their sports teams, in their community. So that's basically the heart behind Feel the Cause. The trip we're gonna have is from June 9 to the 15th, the Sunday evening to Saturday morning of that week. But beyond that, guys, we want to see a network of like-minded people. Wanda, ahora te veo. Wanda Gibo Jokes se unió. No sé si me escuchas. Group of like-minded people, work all throughout Puerto Rico to, empower, inspire, and equip and send the students, the next generation. So that's the heart behind everything that these guys are doing when they come, every time they come. That's my heart behind everything I do as a youth pastor. I've been doing this for 5 years. It's my heart behind every training, leader training or student training that I have the privilege to go to, and that's it. But Dan is gonna tell us, between him and I, we're gonna tell you what a typical day will look like on that trip.
So in the mornings, our plan is to have in the mornings, we'll be doing sessions in the mornings to be able to do some teaching and training with our
breakfast first. Breakfast first.
Food. We will have food.
Just saying.
Everybody else will get fed. Okay. So, so part of the training that we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some teaching, training, equipping, and be doing some training just to make sure everybody's on the same page, making sure rules and regulations, so we can set a standard for the whole trip. And then what we'll end up doing is we'll do some training on discipleship and the whole Fuel the Cause training, discipleship training, evangelism training, those kind of things. Then what we will do is we will go out in the streets during the day. So that would be either going downtown and feeding the homeless. It could be going to, like I said before, going to Youth Challenge and doing some ministry at Youth Challenge. It could be going into a community and helping out and helping them rebuild some of their homes. It could be cleanup process still that needs to go on in some places, or it could actually be, tearing out a bathroom and helping put another one back in. So it's very hands-on as far as giving away. And then in the evenings, come back for some more training and be able to do worship as well together collectively. How many realize that worship is where lives be changed, right? It's with the presence of God that lives are changed. And so if we can help them get that, then and get a deeper understanding, deeper relationship with God, and it would be personal ministry to these youth in the evening times. So Gustavo, you want to add on to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums it up. And just to make sure, in the mornings, we're going to be pouring and investing in the leaders, right?
Yep.
Morning is for the leaders while the students have the breakfast, and then the outreach time. And then both the youth leaders and the students are going to participate of another workshop, another training. It's going to be very hands-on. It's going to have role play and all that, because we really want them to grasp and understand the concepts. Cause you know what, they're going to put them in practice, right? And then at night, I mean, we're gonna have dinner, and then at night, it's it's gonna be that session. But I wanted to make sure that we all understand it's gonna be something like, I don't know, more focused and really invest in the youth leaders, because we have found after years of doing these kind of things that like Dan said in the beginning, students might get excited. They even might get the vision of what we're trying to do. But if we don't equip the leaders to follow up once they're back home, the effect fades away, and we don't want that to happen. I just want to encourage everybody and say that they're gonna leave with a action plan, and that's the idea of what we're trying to do.
So basically, what we're saying is we don't want just an experience and have everybody have a great experience. But we want to have an action plan so when people come home, that experience is carried on throughout the year. and that they can continue to do those kinds of things. So again, like what Gustavo says, each and every leader, your perspective of what you want to see done could be different than somebody else's, and that's completely fine. Because you know your community, you know where you're going as a vision, as a church, all those kind of things, and we want to make sure that that we're equipping you guys to actually be able to flow right alongside the senior pastor, flow right alongside of the vision for the church, and to be able to see these things accomplished. So absolutely.
For example, some of the people but the first time I had an experience like this, they develop a plan for their community, because they were a church that were, right in the middle of a community, and their people were from that community. So they developed that plan, taking into consideration the streets around the church. But in my case, my students at that time and still today, not necessarily are from our community. So our cost turf, where we were gonna reach the people and the students was on their schools. So I had the opportunity. From there, one of our students, they founded a Christian group in their college. Another one, we established, prayer circles in the mornings. I had the opportunity to go and preach to the students, do like a workshop to them, and then present the gospel and all that. So like the Bible says, it's the same spirit, but it's different people, and different experiences. So it's like it's not gonna be do this and do this, do this. We're gonna give you the philosophy, but then the application, and we're gonna help you also to judge some ideas in terms of application. So that's basically what I wanted to add.
It's good. So as far as where we're going to be staying, so we're going to be staying there at Camp Caribe in Ponce. So that's where we have the lodging that's been set up. Transportation, if a youth group comes in and you have your own transportation, that's always best. We have 2 vans that we will be using during the time. So if there's some individual students that are coming that aren't necessarily, maybe a whole youth group didn't come or whatever it might be, then that's fine as well. And we will have transportation for them. We'll be cooking at the camp, so there'll be 2 meals that will actually be cooked at the camp for them, breakfast and dinner. During the day, during lunchtime, typically what we do is we do peanut butter and jelly, right, Stephen? Stephen likes peanut butter and jelly, and so we do that, and so we do peanut butter and jelly, and then because it's simple, fast, it doesn't spoil, and it kind of keeps us out on the road, keeps us going until we need to return home that evening. Okay, so I'm going to have Maria talk about registration here real quick. So
the registration deadline is actually a week from today, which is April 15th. And that's set just because there's a lot of things to put into motion, which one of them is Camp Caribe. We need to just make sure that we let them know how many people are coming, put down deposits by that date. So that is the deadline. Now, if there's a couple students here or there that you want to, maybe your youth group's already signed up, and you want to add a couple more, if we can, we will squeeze in whoever we can, but we can't guarantee it after that point. So you want to make sure that everyone who thinks that they're interested at all in coming registers by that date, and gives us an idea of how to plan. And so I'm getting ready to tell you how to do that. You're going to go, so if you're coming as a group, there are a few of the churches who have already received a group registration from Gustavo. If you have not received that, you can reach out to Gustavo, or you can email me at info@fuel.org and say that you want to register a group and you need a group link. And that way, if you register, each person in your group will use that link to individually register. But as the leader, the youth leader, the pastor, you will have access to see who has registered and how much money they've paid. If they're struggling, do you need to call them, encourage them up? So that's the purpose of using that link, because it's just the people from your church that will have it, that you'll be able to see. So when you when the person registers through that link, they do need to pay a $20 application fee, and that will cover like the manual, the cost of the manual, processing, and they'll get a t-shirt. And then the cost of this week trip is $250, and we will, once that person registers, after we get everyone registered next week, then we'll send out like a payment deadline when different deposits need to be paid, so that we can make sure that that youth doesn't wait to the very last minute and like they panic because now they don't have the money and it's 3 days away. So we'll set payment deadlines, and these can be donations. So Fuel International is a nonprofit organization, so they can do fundraisers. There can be churches that want to support them. They can have family, friends. We encourage them to even send out like what we call a support letter, and they can tell their family and friends what they're getting ready to do. And it will be very simple. Really, $250 is not, it may seem like a huge amount to some of these youth, but it's really not. When they do a couple fundraisers, or maybe they have a job, or they got friends who want to donate, it can happen pretty quickly. But what that covers is their, like we talked about a minute ago, their lodging, their food, some of the transportation, depending on, if they have a vehicle or don't have a vehicle. And then it will include any outreach materials that we have. It will include our leadership. And we're also going to do a fun day towards the end at the beach. So all of that is packed into the $250. And so when they register, going back to that, they will receive an email, what we call a welcome email. And in that email, there are some different links to fundraisers they can do. It talks about sending out a support letter. All of those details are in that email. But the other thing that's really, really important in that email is they're going to get a trip ID number. And that is specific to that one person. So they need to make sure they keep that ID number. So then when they go to make a payment, or if a family member or a friend wants to give a donation, they will go to fuel.org, and you'll see at the top right corner it says donate. And they click on that button, and it will say, is this a general donation or for someone's trip? They'll click on the trip, and then it'll ask for the ID number. So then they put that ID number in, and that donation goes automatically into that person's account. And then when there's a donation made, the youth that has registered will actually receive an email, and it'll say who donated the money and how much they've donated. And then it even tells them how much they still owe on their trip costs. So it's a pretty cool thing if they follow those instructions. So sometimes people have a hard time. The main thing is make sure they keep the welcome email. And then because that has their ID in it. I can always look it up if I need to. If someone doesn't know what to do, they can email me at info@fuel.org, or they can talk to Gustavo and he'll let me know if somebody's having trouble. So that is the registration process. You don't necessarily have to make a payment online. You can mail it to Fuel International. And our website, we also have that the address, and it should be in the welcome email as well, so people can mail the check to Fuel International, or they can give online, which are the two ways they could give. So if a church would rather collect all the money up front for their youth, the church can either do a one-time donation or mail Fuel International check if that's easier, instead of having the individuals putting their money into their accounts. That's another way. Sometimes churches like to do fundraisers. All the money goes into a pot, and then they divide it up and send it to us. So that's the main thing on registration. As we get closer to the trip, we'll send out like a packing list, what they need to bring. We'll also send out the rules and regulations as far as like dress code, just some of the guidelines that they can and cannot do, so they have a really positive experience. Our goal is that every person, whether they're young or old, every person that comes on a Fuel International trip, is that they leave with a positive experience. So everything we do is very, very intentional in helping them have that positive experience. So I think that's the main thing on registration. Gustavo?
Yeah, guys. I just want to say, if you don't know that this place, I mean, it's everything. That this Camp Caribe is right by the coast. It's a beautiful black sand beach. It's the first time I see one here in the island, but it is there. It's pretty nice. And we know, we need to entice the students with these kind of things to let them know, But the main thing, guys, is they're gonna have an experience of an urban mission trip here in our own island that also needs it. they're gonna end up, with the know-how, and they're gonna end up inspired to continue, impacting their world with the gospel of Jesus. That's the main idea. So I would like to open the floor for questions, comments, anything that you guys need us to clarify or repeat, or you guys tell us.
Gustavo, can you hear me?
Sir?
Okay. Fuel the Cause. Why that name, Fuel the Cause? What's the vision behind it? And I joined late, so I apologize.
Great question, Joe. So, we know that verse from Matthew that Jesus says, "Go into all the world,
Right.
and teach them," right? And we call that the Great Commission, right? But that for me nowadays, there's nowhere in the Bible that you can find that. But it sounds to me like you sold a great house and then you got the Great Commission. So you got that. You take that into consideration, and then you add that up with the heart, which is a good thing, of young people, that they're looking for a cause, namely, the whales, namely the environment, name it, puppies that are homeless or whatever it is a generation that are inspired. If we can give them the right message, the right cause, they will take it further and faster. So what better to give them the cause of Christ, and fuel it, because we have that cause already. So let's fuel that cause in their heart. Let's fuel that cause in their minds and hearts, so they can in turn, extend that fuel and that passion throughout.
Right. Okay. All right. And Fuel the Cause is from where? Where are they from internationally? What's the state they're from?
So
Fuel International?
Fuel International is based out of Colorado, is where we're at. And then, so that's where we're at. As well as that's where Dare to Share, where some of the materials that we're utilizing that have been given to us to use will also be used as well. And they're also from Colorado. Okay,
good. Well, I just wanted, the other thing was, what are the age groups? What's the youngest age and what's the oldest age?
So, youngest will be 12. And then you can go on up from there, but we're saying youth. So some regions of the world, all the way up to college, okay? So because, some regions of the world consider youth differently, but we're saying up to college age.
Yeah. And because everybody else is a youth leader.
Right.
I get it. I'm thankful for this conference call, because it helped me be able to articulate what you're doing, and it's easier to sell something when you're able to articulate it in ways that people can understand. So I get it, and I like it. So you answered my questions. I'm good.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. It's great to meet you.
Same here. By the way, in my church, we have a lot of people from Colorado. I'd be surprised if they didn't know about your ministry already.
Okay, that's awesome.
What city are you in?
We're in New Macau, but we have this law called Act 2022, where a lot of corporations are coming down to Puerto Rico and incorporating actually in Puerto Rico. And some of the companies that have come down are from the great state of Colorado. So, again, I'll be surprised when I mention it in church if there isn't one or two that at least will know of it.
Yeah. So many people will know us by Fuel International.
Right.
The camp that we're calling is Fuel the Cause, because we're mixing the two pieces together on this. So
Right. Yeah, but I'm sure they'll know it. But now that I have more information, it's going to be a lot easier to to articulate it and present it. So, thank you.
Joe, if you invite me, I will go down there, man, and explain it myself. Tell me.
Gustavo, you have an open invitation. You can come whenever you want. You can come next Sunday if you want. It's Palm Sunday, and we'll just praise the Lord and talk about the cause. There you go.
There you go. Gustavo.
Next Sunday. In fact, I'll even make an exception. I almost always give people 5 minutes. I'll give you 10.
He'll need it.
All right.
I know. After hearing what I'm hearing, he'll need 10 minutes at least.
All right, peeps. Anybody else? Any question, comments, anything that's not clear?
Yeah.
We all good? Eliezer.
The only thing
Ana.
that I would say is, you know, the 15th is income tax cutoff date in Puerto Rico. It becomes pretty chaotic, so just be aware. I can tell, mira, Gustavo, ahora vamos a hablar español. Sabemos que el boricua va a esperar hasta lo último. We will sign up at the 15th.
That's so true. That is true.
Well, maybe we could do an outreach and help people.
Mira, él lo sabe, el que está ahí lo sabe. He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm not gonna deny or confirm anything. So let's try that. Vamos entonces a que se registren antes. Para que estén.
Antes, pero si no, ya tú sabes que después del día 15 se van a registrar. I know that's going to happen, so we'll be ready for that.
Okay.
That's awesome. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
Escucho, pero no veo. All right. Bueno.
So let's get the word out. Let's get the word out to everybody that you know. If you know of other pastors who weren't able to make it on the call tonight, if you can get the word out, we recorded this whole call, so that way it can be, so people, we can send it out so people can listen to the whole call, or if you've missed some of it tonight, you'll have an opportunity to listen to the whole thing. And also just, if you know of other pastors who weren't able to get here, or you came on, you're like, oh, you know what, I'm thinking about this church or this pastor or this youth pastor, yeah, let us know. We'll make sure we get that information out to them, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it very much.
All right, Gustavo, un abrazo.
Okay. All right, bye, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's an honor.
All right.
God bless y'all.
God bless you.
God bless people. Please pray for us and for this process. Bye-bye.
We'll do it.
Bye.
Yeah.